Now it's time to look at the electric field that gets created by a continuous charge distribution. For example, imagine that we're looking at a line of charge with a total charge as capital Q, and we have to find the electric field at point P. And point P is along the axis of the line of charge, a distance d away from this line. The basic idea is to consider this distribution as a set of thousands or millions or billions of tiny point charges, each one called dq, and then integrate over the distribution. And you can do this differently depending on whether the distribution is over a line, an area, or a volume. The example here is with a line of charge, but I'll show the area and volume examples as separate videos. And if you recall that E was equal to kq over r squared times r hat for a point charge q, then dE is equal to k dq over r squared times r hat for dq. So let's look at this example with the line of charge. So what I want to do is actually identify some point charge somewhere on this line of charge, and I'll call that dq. That point charge is a distance r away from point P. And then the width of dq, I could call that dl or dr. Since I'm using r to represent how far away it is from point P, I'm going to call that dr. So dr is this sort of imaginary width of dq. R then is the distance from point charge dq to point P. And that is what lets me set up the equation in terms of dE and dq. So the tiny piece of electric field dE created at P is equal to k times dq over r squared times r hat. And r hat, remember, points away from the point charge, so I can actually just draw that on. The direction would be to the right. So the direction r hat, I'll draw it from point P, like that. So if dq is positive, then the electric field dE vector would be to the right as well. Since these are positive charges, in fact, I didn't really specify that, but the capital Q, because it wasn't specified as negative, is implicitly positive. Therefore, the dE electric field will also be to the right. So we need to somehow set up the integral in terms of things that we can actually integrate. And we have this dq term. We know k is a constant. R is going to vary according to the integral. So it seems like R is a good variable to use to integrate with. But we have a dq on the top. We have to somehow express dq in terms of a variable that we can integrate. And that's why I actually looked at and defined dr as being the thickness or the width of dq, because r varies, and basically as we integrate along this, r is going to change because dq is going to go from one end of the wire to the other, getting closer or farther away depending on which direction we choose. The important thing, though, is that r is going to change, so it's really good to have the integrated variable be some function of r. So if I can express dq in terms of dr, then I can integrate along r, and that will work nicely. So the trick then is to find some way to express dq in terms of dr, because what we know is the total charge of the wire, and we know the total length of the wire, and that is equal to something called the charge density. And because physicists and physics teachers, and maybe it's just me, are lazy, we represent this mathematically. The total charge is capital Q, the total length is L, and the charge density is lambda. And lambda is specifically the linear charge density. In fact, total charge over total length would actually be called the linear charge density. It gets a little bit different for area and for volume, but the basic idea is still the same. We would have total charge over total area or total volume. So lambda is the linear charge density. So that means in terms of units, we're going to have total charge in coulombs on top. We're going to have length. So the units are going to be in coulombs per meter. That way, we can express dq in terms of dr, because dr is a tiny piece of length. The units will be meters. So we can actually say that dq is equal to lambda times dr. When we multiply the linear charge density in coulombs per meter times some number in meters, we're going to get an amount of charge. And this is what lets us do the integral. We would have dE is equal to k times lambda dr over r squared all times r hat. So the next step is to integrate along the line of charge to get the total electric field So I'm going to integrate from r equals d, the close end, to r equals a plus l, which is the far end. Then I can substitute in the expression I had for dE from just before. So I have k times lambda times dr over r squared times r hat. Then I can take out the constants, k and lambda, so I get k times lambda, and then I have the integral from d to d plus l of 1 over r squared dr times r hat. You know what, r hat is actually a constant as well. I can pull that out front. So I have 1 over r squared times dr. And again, r hat isn't changing in this case. Then it's a matter of evaluating the integral. And the r hat is constant, so I'm going to take it out just so I have a little bit less writing to do. I'll put that on the right-hand side. I have two different denominators, so I'm going to just multiply the left one by d and the right one by d plus l so that I can express both of them in terms of d times d plus l so that I can add things up. And then you might notice that the first two terms in the numerator, negative k lambda d plus k lambda d, those are the same thing, so they cancel each other out and go to 0, which leaves us only with k lambda l on the top, and we still have d times d plus l on the bottom. But we're not quite done simplifying this yet, because we've defined lambda, but ideally what you would want to do is get this in terms of the original variables that we were looking at. So again, this is the electric field value. I'm going to just bring this now over to the left-hand side. I just made some space. So I can substitute in, remember that lambda was equal to the total charge divided by the total length. That's the linear charge density, lambda. So I can write the electric field in vector form as E is equal to k times q over L times L, all divided by d times d plus L, multiplied by the r hat vector. And then you notice that we have 1 over L or q over L times L, so those L's cancel out, and then we get the final form of this equation, which is in terms of all the variables that we originally had. So we have k times capital Q, which is the total charge, divided by d, which is the distance between point P and the one end of the line of charge. Multiply that by d plus L, the length, and then r hat, which is going to point away from the line of charge. So that's one example given a line of charge where you need to find the electric field at a point that's on the axis of the line. You can use a similar approach for an area or a volume. In general, for a line or a ring, because you might have to work with a ring, in that case you would probably get something that's on an axis going through the center of the ring, but maybe not. Depends how much work you do in 3D versus 2D. So for a line or ring, we do the linear charge density is equal to the total charge divided by the length. And in that case, the substitution that we use to set up the integral is that dq is equal to lambda times dl. And for the example that I just showed, instead of using L as the integrative variable, I switched it to R. It can be really any length vector or any length variable. Then for an area, we have something called the surface charge density with the symbol sigma, which is equal to the total change divided by the total area. And then dq is equal to sigma times dA. And finally, for a volume, we have the volume charge density with the symbol rho is equal to the total charge divided by the total volume, and then dq is equal to rho times dV. The strategy is to set up the problem so that you're finding the small piece of electric field dE is equal to k dq over r squared times r hat, and then choose the correct substitution for dq according to whether you have a line, a ring, an area, or a volume. And after that, it's just a matter of evaluating the integral over the length, area, or volume, depending on what you have. For more examples of this, check out the videos below this one. And if you don't find what you're looking for, please let me know so I can help fill that gap.